The sky changed before anyone understood what they were seeing. At first, it looked like a storm, an unnatural formation of dark clouds stretching across the horizon, swallowing the blue in slow, deliberate waves. But there was no wind, no thunder, no rain, just a silence so heavy it pressed against the ears, as if the world itself was holding its breath. Then the shape revealed itself. A massive structure emerged from the darkness, impossibly large, stretching miles across the sky. Its surface was smooth, yet jagged in places, like it had been forged from both metal and shadow. Lights pulsed across its body in slow, rhythmic patterns, like a heartbeat. It hovered silently, defying gravity, casting an enormous shadow over cities, oceans, mountains, over everything. People across the world stopped what they were doing. Cars halted mid-traffic. Flights were grounded. News channels went live within minutes, struggling to make sense of what was unfolding. Satellites captured its full scale, and the images sent a chill through every government, every military command, every human being. It wasn't just a ship, it was a presence. Within hours, global leaders gathered in emergency meetings. Panic began to spread, but so did something else. Curiosity. Questions filled the air. Were they hostile? Were they explorers? Were they gods? No one had answers. Then the signal came. Every screen on Earth flickered simultaneously. Phones, televisions, billboards, even digital watches. The same image appeared everywhere, a dark background with a single glowing symbol rotating slowly in the center. It was unlike any human language, sharp, geometric, yet strangely elegant. A voice followed. It wasn't heard through speakers. It wasn't transmitted in any conventional way. It was inside the mind, clear, precise, impossible to ignore. "We have arrived." The words were simple, but they carried a weight that no human voice ever could. Governments scrambled to respond. Scientists attempted to decode the symbol, while linguists searched for patterns in the communication. Militaries worldwide moved into high alert, though deep down everyone knew. If this entity meant harm, humanity stood no chance. A response was prepared. From a secure underground facility, a global coalition transmitted a message into the unknown. It was carefully constructed, peaceful, cautious, diplomatic. "We acknowledge your presence. Identify yourselves. State your intentions." For a moment, nothing happened. Then the voice returned. "We are the Varex Dominion. Your planet has been selected for assimilation. Surrender your weapons. Resistance will result in termination." The words echoed inside every human mind. There was no anger in the voice, no emotion at all, just certainty. Shock rippled across the world. The message was clear. This was not first contact. This was an ultimatum. In the command center, silence filled the room. Screens displayed the massive ship hovering above Earth, its presence dominating the sky like a second horizon. Military leaders argued in hushed tones. Politicians demanded options. Scientists stared at data they couldn't fully understand. And in the middle of it all, one question remained unanswered. What do you do when surrender is the only logical choice, but survival demands resistance? A second message was sent. "We request negotiation." This time, the response was immediate. "Negotiation is unnecessary. Compliance ensures preservation of your species." But humanity wasn't ready to accept that. Not yet. A decision was made to establish direct communication, real-time negotiation with whatever intelligence controlled the ship. A team was assembled: diplomats, scientists, strategists. Among them was Dr. Elias Carter, a linguist and behavioral analyst known for his ability to interpret non-human communication patterns. He stepped into the chamber, aware that billions of lives might depend on what happened next. The connection was established. The room dimmed as a projection formed in front of them, a figure unlike anything human. Tall, elongated, with limbs that moved too smoothly, as if they weren't bound by joints. Its surface shimmered, shifting between solid and translucent. Where a face should have been, there was only a glowing void. "Proceed," the voice echoed inside their minds. Dr. Carter took a breath. "You claim this planet. On what grounds? Your species lacks unity. You damage your environment. You engage in continuous conflict. You are inefficient. We will optimize." The response was immediate, almost rehearsed. Carter leaned forward slightly. "And those who resist will be removed." A chill ran through the room. This wasn't negotiation, this was evaluation. Still, Carter pressed on. "What happens if we comply?" A pause, brief but noticeable. "Your species will continue to exist under our governance. Your systems will be restructured. Your conflicts will end." It sounded almost peaceful, but at what cost? Outside, the massive ship remained motionless, its lights pulsing steadily. Across the world, people watched, waited, feared, and somewhere deep within the structure, something else was watching humanity just as closely. Learning, analyzing, preparing. The negotiation had begun, but it was already clear. The balance of power was not in humanity's favor. The atmosphere inside the command center grew heavier with every passing minute. Dr. Elias Carter stood still, but his mind raced faster than ever before. The being in front of him, this projection of the Varex dominion, was not just speaking. It was measuring. Every word, every hesitation, every emotion was being analyzed. "We require clarification," Carter said carefully. "What do you mean by optimization?" The entity's form flickered slightly, as if processing the question. "Your species operates below maximum potential. Resources are wasted. Systems are inefficient. We will restructure your civilization to achieve equilibrium." A general stepped forward. "You mean control?" "Control is a primitive interpretation," the voice replied instantly. "We bring order." The difference between the two words was lost on no one. Carter continued, choosing his words with precision. "You've observed us. Then you know humanity values autonomy, freedom. If you remove that, you risk destroying what makes us us." Another pause, longer this time. "Individuality contributes to inefficiency," the entity responded. "However, it may hold unknown variables. Further analysis is required." That was something. Not agreement, but uncertainty. And uncertainty meant opportunity. Carter exchanged a quick glance with the team behind him. They understood. This wasn't about winning. It was about buying time. "Then analyze us properly," Carter said. "Give us time to demonstrate our potential. You've judged us from a distance. We have observed your species for centuries." "Observation isn't understanding," Carter countered. "You see our conflicts, but not our progress. You see our flaws, but not our growth." The entity's form shifted again, its glowing core pulsing slightly brighter. "Explain." Carter stepped closer. "Humanity is chaotic, yes, but that chaos drives innovation. We adapt, we evolve, we learn from failure. You call us inefficient, but we've reached the stars on our own. Imagine what we could achieve if given time." Silence filled the chamber. For the first time since the encounter began, the alien did not respond immediately. Across the globe, billions waited. Minutes passed. Then, "A temporary delay may be granted." Relief flickered across the room, but it was short-lived. "However," the voice continued, "proof of your potential must be demonstrated." Carter frowned slightly. "What kind of proof?" The entity extended one elongated limb, and the projection shifted. A series of images appeared: war zones, pollution, collapsing ecosystems, riots, destruction. "This is your current state." The images changed: advanced technology, medical breakthroughs, space exploration, acts of compassion, unity in times of crisis. This is your potential. The images vanished. You have one planetary cycle, the entity said. Demonstrate measurable improvement, or assimilation will proceed. A murmur spread through the room. One planetary cycle. 1 year. That's not enough time, someone whispered. But Carter knew arguing that point would be useless. Instead, he nodded slowly. We accept. The entity's form began to fade. Failure is not an option. And then, it was gone. The connection ended. For a moment, no one moved. Then the room erupted. That's impossible, one official shouted. You expect us to fix the entire planet in a year? We don't have a choice, another replied. Military leaders began discussing defense strategies, desperate, unrealistic plans against an enemy far beyond their capabilities. Scientists debated how to accelerate global progress. Politicians argued about cooperation. But Carter stood silently. He knew something they didn't. This wasn't just a test of progress, it was a test of humanity itself. Outside, the massive ship remained in place, but now smaller crafts began to emerge from its surface. Dozens of them, spreading across the globe like silent observers. They weren't attacking. They were watching. Every action, every decision. Humanity was no longer alone. And time was running out. The world changed overnight. The knowledge that humanity was being judged, observed by an advanced alien civilization, ignited something unprecedented. Nations that had once been rivals were forced into cooperation. Old conflicts paused, not out of goodwill, but necessity. The fear of extinction outweighed everything else. Global systems were restructured within days. Resources were redirected toward sustainability, innovation, and unity. Scientists worked around the clock, sharing knowledge across borders without restriction. Technologies that had been locked behind patents or politics were suddenly open to all. But change wasn't easy. Protests erupted in some regions. People questioned why humanity should bow to an alien ultimatum. Others embraced the opportunity, believing this could be the push needed to finally unite the world. Above it all, the Varex ships hovered silently, watching, recording, evaluating. Dr. Elias Carter became one of the central figures in the global effort. His understanding of the alien mindset gave humanity its only edge, however small it might be. They're not emotional, he explained during a global broadcast. They don't hate us. They don't fear us. To them, we're a system to be analyzed. That means we can influence their conclusion. How? A reporter asked. By proving we're more than our flaws. Months passed. Progress was visible, but uneven. Some parts of the world thrived under the new cooperation. Others struggled to adapt. The Varex observers remained silent, offering no feedback. Until one day, the signal returned. Carter was called back to the chamber immediately. The projection formed again, more stable this time. Progress has been noted, the entity stated. Carter didn't speak immediately. He waited. We have observed increased cooperation, reduced conflict, accelerated technological advancement. A pause. But inefficiencies remain. Of course they did. We're not perfect, Carter said. We never will be. But we're trying. Trying is insufficient, Carter stepped forward. Then what do you want from us? The entity's core pulsed brightly. Proof that your species can sustain this trajectory without external pressure. Carter narrowed his eyes slightly. You mean, you want us to choose this path, not just follow it because you're here? Correct. That was different. So if we continue improving even after you leave, we will reconsider assimilation. The word reconsider echoed in Carter's mind. It wasn't a promise, but it wasn't a rejection either. He took a breath. Then give us that chance. The entity studied him, or at least it seemed to. Then it spoke. We will withdraw observation for a limited period. Your actions during that time will determine your fate. The projection faded, and for the first time, the massive ship in the sky began to move. Slowly, silently, it ascended, pulling back from Earth. The smaller crafts followed, disappearing into its surface. Within hours, the sky was clear again, but the silence it left behind was different. This time, it wasn't fear. It was uncertainty. Humanity had been given a choice. Not forced, not controlled, but trusted, at least partially. The real question now wasn't whether the aliens would return. It was whether humanity would remain united without them. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. At first, the cooperation held. Systems remained in place. Progress continued. But slowly, cracks began to form. Old habits resurfaced. Political tensions returned. Some leaders questioned whether the alien threat was truly gone, or if it had ever been real. Carter watched it all unfold with quiet concern. He understood the truth. The aliens hadn't just tested humanity's progress, they had tested its nature, and that was far harder to change. One night, as Carter stood alone, looking up at the now empty sky, a thought crossed his mind. What if the real invasion wasn't about taking the planet? What if it was about deciding whether humanity deserved to keep it? He didn't know the answer. Not yet, but one thing was certain. Somewhere in the depths of space, the Varax Dominion was still watching, waiting, and when they returned, they wouldn't ask again.